Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today on my channel, we are going to be doing a wear test or a first time trial on the Tati Beauty Blendiful. The Blendiful is an item made by Tati Beauty. She is a fellow YouTuber here, and she came up with this in order to be able to use one product for both creams, liquids, powders, and everything. This is not a bad price point. I believe it was the $12.95 price point. It is currently sold out. It does sell out quickly. It also comes with a tiny little mini one that you can take on the go with you or use for smaller areas if you choose. I am going to show you today how I use this from start to finish on this look. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the product first, and then we'll jump right into trying it out. The Blendiful is $18. It is currently sold out. Blendiful is the makeup applicator you didn't know you needed. The game-changing soft textured fabric tool is a blending dream that is designed to seamlessly apply and soften both liquid and powder products. The rounded edge and pointed tip help to provide the perfect blend step to step up your makeup application. Buff in foundation with a little product waste, experience seamless contour, smoother concealer, and the most airbrush powder application, even in those hard to reach areas of the face. Save product, save time, and become the expert artist of your own unique routine. However you choose to use the Blendiful, your look will be one with no harsh lines every time. The details are for cleaning instructions to machine wash and dry in Delicate's laundry bag or gently hand wash in warm soapy water, rinse thoroughly, and blot dry. Do not bleach it and do not dry clean it. So let's jump into trying these out and see what my thoughts are at the end. So I received I think it's called a Blendiful, and then the little mini one. We're gonna try this out today. So I guess it isn't gonna be a true wear test. I'm going to try and do as much of my makeup as possible with this because you were supposed to use this with liquids and powders. I am going to use my YSL All Hours foundation because I know that one is good and it stays. So let's see here. I guess you just roll your hand in it like this. And then do you tap it or drag it? We'll try a little bit of both. I mean, it's good coverage. It feels nice. It's a little awkward because it's not like, I don't want to use this side because I feel like I'll need that side for powder. And do you want to use powder right over it? So I'm kind of trying to stay on one corner. All right, let's try dragging. Okay, so dragging definitely does not give you coverage. Dragging kind of brought it all off. Okay, I just put that all over my lips. Too busy talking. I mean, it feels like it gives a decent coverage, similar to a beauty blender, something along that line. The weird thing to me is the fact, like a beauty blender you dampen so that it doesn't absorb the product. But this you don't. You use this dry. And what is that little... Okay, something just came off from that, like a fuzzy. You can throw this in the laundry. Now, okay, so I put the same amount I typically use for my face on my coaster, and I'm adding an extra pump. Now, it could be because I drug that down too. When you drag it, it definitely does not, like it removes product a little bit, which is to be expected. You know, when you use a brush, if you drag it down your face, it also removes a lot of product. Did I do my nose? I have no idea. I mean, it's looking pretty. It's looking nice. It's strange though. Like it does get into these little crevices really, really, really well. So this one's supposed to be the everyday, and this is supposed to be for touch-ups in your bag. But I felt like this one might be better for like concealer, but I don't know. Who am I to say? All right, I need just a little bit more for my neck. My neck has been very blotchy lately. I've been having weird breakouts on my neck. All right. I mean, it looks nice. It looks, I'm not like, oh my gosh, it's so much better than anything else I've used, but I'm also not like, it is awkward to use. It's like finding the right hand placement on it. So I feel like it does eat up a lot of product by comparison to a beauty blender. So it's a little strange holding it, I would say. Everything else gives me, I would say, the same results as using a brush or as using a beauty blender sponge. Let's keep going on to the rest of my makeup to see how this does. I'm staring at it to see. Let me get my mirror. I mean, I feel like it's a little bit heavier of coverage. I don't know if that's because the sponge is picking up more product. I almost feel like I need to go all over it and tap it to pull off any excess so it doesn't look cakey. But I mean, that's a lot of product on there that kind of absorbed. All right, let's keep playing with this. See how it goes. Now this wear test is obviously not going to be a wear test that I check back in and do flash tests and things like that because there's nothing to test. This is more of a trial, first impressions. What do I think of it using it with different products? We'll see how it goes and just kind of play with it. I've heard people that really love it, so I was excited to give it a try. I'm going to stay on the same spot with this cream bronzer as where I had the foundation because that's what I typically do with a beauty blender or a brush. I can use the same brush or the same beauty blender. See how it does up here because this is where I usually have my trouble area. Is it either, I feel like it's absorbing a lot of product, like it's leaving it down and it's giving a good color, but I feel like if I had used, maybe I should have done it side by side. I feel like if I had used a beauty blender or a brush, I feel like I would have had a little bit more bronzer. It might just be me making this up in my head, who knows. Oh, got a piece of hair there. Come on, get out of there. There we go. I feel like I need a touch more. Let me just do it that on my forehead. I feel like that kind of absorbed a lot of it right up there. But I also feel like it lifted the foundation a little bit too. Who knows? We will see. I think it's definitely a learning curve. You definitely have to kind of get used to it. All right, we're going to do concealer. I had a couple different times where I was using this and just swiping it on. Way too much product. So which part do I use? Let's use, it is interesting too because as I'm holding that, it's kind of rolling inside of itself. So be aware of that. Let's try this corner down here. Yeah, let's try this one. I was going to try and use the little one, but now I usually take my concealer up and onto my eyelids as well because I have a lot of redness and I do my inner corner. I mean, this is nice for that. My under eyes is always an area that with a beauty blender is hard to get to, especially the inner corner. And with a brush, I feel like sometimes it leaves it too streaky. So I'm interested to see how this does with this. All right, on this eye, it lifted up a little bit too much right there. And that might have just been how I put it on. Let's see, because there's a spot of darkness right there. All right. I mean, it looks nice. It feels really nice. It's super soft. And you just throw this thing in the wash too, which is, to me, really nice. Like, oh, there's a fuzzy from this thing. I was like, I thought it was darkness. It's a fuzzy from this. Maybe I should have washed it before I used it for the first time. All right, it doesn't look heavy under the eyes, so that's good, or cakey. Let's keep going on and see how it goes with the rest of it. This is what I usually use to set my under eye. I mean, I guess do you just go in the same spot or do you, well, let's try a different edge. Okay, so it got the powder on it. Now that's probably a little bit more powder. It's picking up a lot of the powder, but it's also applying a lot of the powder. The powder is not staying on the sponge. I go over my lids a little bit just to set that typically. Okay, I would say that's probably my favorite thing I've done with it so far. So let's, you know what, we need to do a little bronzer. Where's my bronzer? So I've been using this bronzer a lot lately. Where do I go for this? Okay, I'm gonna just try this little, so an area between where the foundation and the concealer was. I mean, I guess that's what you do. You just kind of keep rolling it around. I don't want too much product. This is just kind of to warm it up The other one was more of a contour. This is more of a warmth. It definitely, with powders, applies more product than with the liquids. I mean, it looks nice. So far, I'm kind of liking it with powders, surprisingly, better than the liquids. It wasn't bad with liquids. It was just, it wasn't anything mind-blowing. Whereas with these powders, it's kind of actually blowing my mind. Oh, so this I saw. You can take this and flip it around, so then you also have another side. Let's try that since we're doing a setting powder now. All right, so I picked up the powder. It's almost like, I gotta get some more powder out. It's almost kind of like it's baking it a little bit, except for obviously you're not putting a whole bunch of it on. Like I have that same feel of like, this is much more like setting it than with a brush. I don't know why. The good and bad of only poking a couple holes in these things. I mean, it looks nice. I just don't want it to feel cakey or heavy, which can happen if you have too much powder on too. That's why I don't do a lot of baking of my skin, because as we get older, I'm 46 years old, I feel like the heavier powders also make you look older because it can settle into fine lines quicker, things like that. I mean, it's looking nice. It looks good. Definitely, I'm liking it. All right, we're going to go in with blush. Where should I go? Trying to find little spots that I want. Should have saved that corner. Okay, we're going to use this corner over here. I mean, that picks up a lot, but you'd have to be careful putting it down, because if you put too much in one spot, see, you got to kind of work that in now. I don't want to look like crazy blush. It's kind of hard. You can see the difference there versus there, but it's interesting. It's definitely, okay, I don't love it for blush. I love it for powders so far. I really love it for under the eyes. This is interesting. All right, I'm going to take a little bit more translucent powder and kind of buff that out a little bit, because it looks a little bit too, too much blush. A little bit too pinky. All right, let's see. What should we, you know what I'm going to try and do? See if I can find my highlighter. I'm going to try and do a cheek highlight with this. I'm going to take an edge of it. Let's choose this one. Ooh, that's way too dark and way too much. Okay. We need a lighter color. I'm using this Osmosis one. So I'm just going to... It's kind of hard to tell on this. Oh, there it is. Now on this side I did. It picked up more on this side. Okay, now I need to even that out. Back to the powder side again, just to kind of make it so it's not so, it does pick up a lot of color, which is good and bad, guys. Definitely good and bad. Let's put, you're supposed to be able to do shadow with this. You know what? I'm going to try the little one. Why not? Let's see if we can do shadow with the little one. It's not really picking much up. Like, I mean, I'm really digging into that to get that color. I would definitely do this before you do your brows, because, I mean, you can see the difference. I mean, it's fine. It's not, because of my lashes, it's not the easiest way to put shadow on. But I mean, if you were in a pinch, what in the world? Okay, so this is where your problem comes in. See this dark bit right here? That's from touching the color next to it in the palette. All right, so you gotta use this. Oh God, was I using an area that had highlighter on it? I don't think so, but who knows? I feel like I've got a lot of color up there. All right. All right, so I would not suggest using this for shadow. It's a little bit of a train wreck for me for shadow, but that's probably user error. I mean, most times you are going to have a shadow that's next to another shadow in a palette. All right, you know what? I'm just going to put it on with a brush. Sorry to say. I was trying to do a whole face just with that, but sometimes it just doesn't work out. I need this because I need to blend out that area. All right. That was kind of funny. I'm going to finish up the rest of my makeup, being my lips. This is just a kind of primer, and my brows, and then I'll come back and talk to you guys. Also just realized that when I did my eyes, I got highlighter on this brow bone, but not on this one, so it looks a little awkward. I'm going to add just a little bit of that just on this side, just so it, ooh, added a little bit too much. So let's bring some over here in our corner. And then I'm going to take that brush I used, just blend it out because it's a little bit too much highlighter. You know what? Let's try blending it out with this. I don't want to mess up my brows though, now that I did that. It's fine. That's fine. All right, let's talk about this. So I find it interesting. I definitely am going to continue to play with it. So if you're interested in kind of how I talk about it after I have used it multiple times, go follow me over on Instagram. I talk about these things over on my stories and kind of updates. I find this interesting. I think I personally prefer it more for powders than I do. Gives a very full finished look. But I definitely think for me, powders, it seems to work better. The foundation wasn't bad. I just tend to like the coverage and like the way it applies with either a brush or a beauty blender better. I felt like this absorbed a little bit more product than normal. I would be a little bit concerned with throwing it in the laundry. Like, should I rinse it off first and get some of the product out of it? So it's definitely something that I'm glad I got, and I'm trying, and I will definitely use it. I definitely think this is going to be my go-to for powders for quite some time. I really like the way it set my powders and my foundation. I don't think I would use it for my bronzers. I don't think I would use it for those things. I definitely think I would use it for my concealer under my eyes, for my setting powder under my eyes, and then also for my setting powder on my face. Bronzers, blushes, eyeshadows, all those things, I don't think I would use it for. Foundation here or there, if I was traveling and I just wanted to take this with me versus a brush or a sponge or all those things, I definitely think this would be great. Definitely you would have to wash it out in between uses if you were using this while you were traveling. I love the fact that you can just flip this over from side to side to be able to use multiple sides on it. The little travel one, it's a nice little bonus, but to be honest with you, it is not something that I would use or care to use or bother to carry with me. This is the main focus of what we're talking about here. So for the price point, I definitely think that this is a great little option. It is something fun to try. It is something that, as I mentioned, I will use for quite some time on my powders. However, the rest of it I'm just kind of okay with. It's not something I loved. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little get ready with me / wear test on the Tati Beauty Blendiful, not Blenderful, Blendiful. Definitely an interesting product. I mean, hey, all the more power to her, the more products you come out with and try, the more options there are for us out on the market. I like that. I always like trying new things. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you are not yet subscribed to me, I would love if you click that little red button right down below and followed along. And I will post 2 additional wear test videos right up here for you guys if you're interested in checking those out as well. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching and sticking with me, and have a great day. Bye.